Welcome to our newest episode of the Dinosaur Science series, Excavation and Restoration of Dinosaur Fossils. In this episode, you would get the idea of how dinosaur fossils were discovered, excavated, identified, and recovered. Discovery and excavation. Most fossils were discovered by an accident, or by ones who don't know about the paleontology field. As an example, a farmer in Montana found a fossil mistakenly by digging a hole for a fence post. However, the excavation of dinosaur fossils cannot be done by amateur fossil hunters because it's a job for experts or pros who can recover the fossils intact. Planning for excavations of dinosaur fossils can take weeks, months, or even years according to the size of the fossil, and much of the paleontologists who involved should have money to do the work because practical paleontology could be an overpriced and an expensive business. After excavating the fossil, it should be cleaned, stop them from falling apart by conserving, describing the fossil scientifically and identifying it. Fossils with high-grade quality are often displayed in museums. Classification. Fossils that are brand new to science must be defined precisely, with particular scientific sketches like George Cuvier's drawing in 80s of a Mosasaurus hoffmanii, which is 10 to 18 meters in length and weighing up to 14,000 kilograms in, or can be described by a photograph. The fossil is also given a name, usually determined by the scientists who describe the fossil. Meantime, if the fossil is broken, it would be restored with proper adhesives and other elements. Fossilized bones are extremely fragile if it is being made out of stone, so they should be carefully excavated. When excavating a fossil, paleontologists that involved must record their exact location. They must check the surroundings for other clues like traces of soft tissue that might be destroyed during the fossil is extracted. Once the task is completed, the rock can be chipped away to reveal the fossil. When exposing the fossil, big bones are partly encased in plaster to strengthen them before they cut out, but if the bones are small enough, they can be removed intact. There are 5 sections of the restoration of a fossil bone. Starting the excavation, revealing the fossil, creating a site map, covering the bone in plaster to reinforce the bone, and unloading the plaster in labs. Starting the excavation. After discovering the fossil, the excavating team exposes the fossil carefully by removing the soil which is attached to the fossil. Also, they check the fossil for any fragments. Revealing the fossil. After exposing the fossil, the excavating team can see the size and condition of the fossil and if fossils are lying nearby. Creating a site map. Before removing fossils from the site is photographed and carefully mapped. The exact position of all visible objects is marked on the map. A string or a wire grid is used for this purpose. Covering the bone in plaster to reinforce the bone. Big, fragile fossils must be covered with plaster before digging out, to stop them from damaging or falling apart. The fossil is protected by resin, then wrapped before applying wet plaster. Unloading the plaster in labs. In labs, the plaster will be cut off and scientists start working on the fossil. They use appropriate tools to remove surrounding rocks. Reassembling fossil skeletons of dinos. Fossil bones are heavy, fragile, and, of course, scientifically valuable. So, most of the skeletons of dinosaurs, mounted in museums, are built from replicas of real fossils. Those replicas are lightweight and attached to frames made out of steel. Making replicas is a good way to depict the bones in good condition. Replicas also restore missing bone parts of dinosaur skeletons. 3D dinos. Fossil skeletons are extremely spectacular, but we don't know how they are locomoted when they are alive. With careful study of the bones with the help of anatomical knowledge, an image of any dinosaur can be easily created. Graphic designers can create a 3D model of the animal with different angles and poses after giving proper details of the animal. Now let's see how they create such a magnificent creature using digital techniques. Making the mesh. With the help of detailed drawings of the dinosaur skeleton, the graphic designer or the modeler creates a framework or a mesh in his 3D software which will form the foundation of the dinosaur model. This starts as a grid, but the software separates this into smaller sections so that the modeler can mold the shape of the model. Adding skin features. After constructing the mesh or the foundation of the model, the modeler can construct the skin details such as the scales or the wrinkles on its belly, back, tail, head and legs, also the exact form of the dinosaur's eyes and mouth. The skin features and the body of the dinosaur are based on the latest research done by paleontologists. Adding colors to the textures and creating the final pose. There is a digital technique that allows the skin to be worked on as if it were laid on the floor, to make sure the colors and textures are right. The software wraps the skin around the dino model, which then has its pose focused, and finally shadows and light are added to the dinosaur model to make it look real. So we have reached the end of this episode, but we would like to bestow a simple fact regarding fossil scanning and modeling. Fossil scanning. Fossils are fragile and valuable specimens of science, so they should be handled carefully and regularly for studying. So scientists use advanced medical scanners to see every part of the fossil. Computer modeling. Scientists can build computer models of fossils and dinosaur bones, with the help of data gathered from fossils, and can animate them to see how they moved, and how the muscles worked. But the models always don't look real, but they are valuable to the field of science, and they provide valuable insight into the mechanics of these giant reptiles.